In this lesson we're going to be learning a new tune on the first three strings again, called Auld Lang Syne, which is sung on New Year's Eve. We're going to introduce a new note on the first string, which is A, played at the 5th fret. We'll also be dealing with dotted timing or tied notes. If you look at the written material, you'll see what I'm talking about, but to get a feel for how it sounds, I'm going to play the tune and give you the count or the timing. Now it starts on an incomplete measure on the count of 4. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2 and 3, 4, 1, 2 and 3, 4, 1, 2 and 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2 and 3, 4, 1, 2 and 3, 4 and 1, 2 and 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Now for the right hand, if you recall, we've been setting our thumb on the 6th string and placing all our fingers on the 4th string and using our index finger to pick out and play the notes on the 1st, 2nd and 3rd string. Now what you may want to try doing is simply resting with your thumb and allowing your fingers to roam freely over the strings and play them like this with your first finger without having to place them all and restrict your movement, because eventually at some point you are going to get used to playing notes and picking them out without resting with your thumb or your fingers, and your hand will maintain its proper position. So you could just put your thumb here and play like this. You may also want to experiment by using more than one finger, possibly your first and your middle finger. And if you can, you may want to try and alternate between them. Don't worry if you find that too difficult to do, but you may want to make an attempt at doing it anyway. Now, as I mentioned earlier, we're going to be playing the note A on the 1st string, which is at the 5th fret. Now, we can play that by placing our 3rd finger there or our little finger there. If you want to get used to using your little finger, which you have to at some time, you may as well begin now by playing A with your little finger. On the other hand, it's okay to go from G, where your 3rd finger is, and just simply move it up as well. But you can experiment with that. It won't matter really whether you use your little finger or your 3rd finger for that note A. Here we go. So we start off 1, 2, 3, 4. We play the open G on the 4th count. 1, 2, 3, 4, C, 1, 2 and 3. Open E, 4, D, 2 and 3. There's our dotted timing. Again. 4, 1, 2 and 3. 4, 1, 2 and 3. So let's try that one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2 and 3. 4, 1, 2 and 3. 4, open E, back to C, 1, 2 and 3, 4, now I'm at the G and then I can move that along to A. Again, 1, 2 and 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, back, 1, 2 and 3, 4, 1, 2 and 3. Now the 8th notes, 4 and 1. Again, 4 and 1, 2 and 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Now I'm going to place my finger on C to begin with, even though that's not the first note that I hit. But I have it there in place as it's going to be the 2nd note. Now I start off by hitting the 3rd string open, which is a G. So I go G, C, 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 open E, D, C, D, E, C, C, E, G, move along, A, G, E, E, C, D, C, D, E, D, C, A, G, C. We're now going to add a couple more chords to your collection. We're going to be doing E major and A minor. Now we've already learned E minor at the very beginning when we used it to sing The Drunken Sailor. Now I should mention that there is a difference between major chords and minor chords. You can usually hear it with a bit of practice. Minor chords have a tendency to sound a little sad, and major chords are a little happier. So we have a minor chord and a major chord. Also, a lot of times when you have music or you see a book with music in, chords that are major are often just given the letter name. So instead of saying E major, you would simply say E. But for minor chords, there's often the minor written in, but shortened, like A min or E min for minor. Now let's take a look at E major for the left hand. Here's our E major chord, or our simple E chord as I described it. We need our first finger pressing down on the third string at the first fret, our middle finger on the fifth string at the second fret, and our third finger on the fourth string at the second fret. And we can strum with our pick all across the strings, and you can hear the sound of the chord there. Another way of thinking about arriving at this chord is to simply place the E minor shape that you're familiar with and just add your first finger on the third string. So there's our E major chord or E chord. Now A minor that we're going to learn next is fairly simple in that it's exactly the same shape for the fingers but on different strings. So if you want to try this, you can just move across the strings this way, downwards, onto these strings here. So now my middle finger is on the fourth string, second fret, my third finger is on the third string, second fret, and my first finger is plonked down on the second string, first fret. Now with this chord, be careful when you're strumming it that you hit it from the fifth string down and not all six strings. You could hit it with all six, but it doesn't quite sound as nice as if you miss out the sixth string, which really isn't in the chord, and strum it from the fifth string. Now the nice thing about these two chords is they're great for practicing changes because the shapes are similar, in that when you want to move, you just simply move the shape up. So you can practice doing, say, 4 strums on E. 1, 2, 3, 4. Lift your fingers up in the air and drop them down one string below for A minor with 4 strums. And once again, the idea of setting up a bar of quarter note strums, that is all downstrokes, is if you go 1, 2, 3, 4, you can change on that next beat of the next bar, like 1, 2, 3, 4, change 1, 2, 3, 4, change 1, 2, 3, 4. To conclude this lesson, I'm going to show you the timing of a 16th note. Now, as you recall, quarter notes got 1 beat, and if you had 4 of them in the bar, they would go 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, assuming those quarter notes were an open E string, it would be 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, you also know that you can divide each quarter note into 2 eighth notes. and the timing and the count is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So now you have two notes played in a time of one beat or one quarter note. Now you can further break that down into 16th notes, and the timing for that is 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a. To give every little 16th note a verbal syllable, you have the beat, which is 1, then you have an E, an and an a. 1 E and a. But if you listen, those four notes are all played in the time of one count or one beat or one quarter note. So once again we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a. As you can hear, they're played quite quickly. Now, we're not really using 16th notes in this area of the sight, but in other areas we will be using 16th notes, so it's a good idea that I introduce them to you now.